what I'm freaking talking about. Oh, going good. There it is.
Day 2.
So as you heard, this is day 2 of practice. I'm just going to kind of talk through the thought process of what I was looking for here. So I originally thought that coming down here, I was going to be able to catch some fish in open water on a damiki. I had pre-practiced and caught some fish doing that, but the water color was just a lot dirtier than it was in December. We had a lot of rain. The water temperature was right, but the water color was not. And so I started fishing some of these channel swing banks in some bigger creeks and things like that, and caught a few decent fish, but just not the consistency I was looking for. So then I kind of went to the town and country area. This is actually day 3 of practice now. I just inserted a couple clips for you guys to see here, but I went to the town and country area. This is actually where David Fritz ended up catching a lot of his fish, but I caught some here in practice cranking kind of some of these long points, and I was catching them pretty, I was catching quite a few fish, honestly. There was a lot of boat pressure in the tournament, and so it ended up, you'll see some challenges with that, but I had a pretty decent third day of practice in town and country, throwing a OG speed trap, cranking it on some of these long points way out off the bank, some of the areas that weren't getting targeted by other competitors. And you can see, based on me saying they weren't targeted by other competitors, with this one here, this is a really solid fish, probably a 3-pounder. I was a little sneaky here. There's a boat idling over the left-hand side of the boat, if you can see it in the background. So I looked like I was doing some tackle here, got this fish in. Didn't really get a chance to show it off to the camera, but you'll see as I throw it back here. I mean, a really, really solid fish. Now, I've ran this pattern most of the day. I found 3 or 4 different places I thought I could get off the bank and crank this speed trap on the end of these long clay points and catch some fish. Towards the end of the day, something pretty special happened, and it ended up actually paying off a little bit in the tournament, which was pretty cool. So not right here, but the next clip is about to pop up. Late in the day, I picked up a chatterbait, Z-Man, jackhammer, dirty white, and I started fishing some boat docks. And I started getting a few bites pretty quick. They were these black floats on any of the docks that had black floats. I guess the sun, it was a real high sky day. You can see a lot of sunshine. There were some big largemouth hanging out right below these floats on these marina docks and things like that. So I was throwing this chatterbait right below the black float. This one was probably a 3.5-pounder I caught here towards the end of the day. And then I roll on, just right around the corner, same little deal, underneath a black,
Kind of filthy.
a black float, and catch another really solid largemouth. So I thought I had a pattern here, and I ran to the end of the stretch of docks here, and kind of on a, it wasn't a black float, but this was kind of the end of the stretch of docks. Had a little ditch running beside it, just kind of one of those areas that's set up right. So I thought I could fish some boat docks with a chatterbait and have a really good tournament going into the tournament. So the plan was, start throwing my crankbait, pick up a chatterbait, and you kind of follow along and see how that goes.
Oh, hey, good morning. Day 1 of the NPFL. A little fog delay action. Fired up, get this season going. Should be an exciting day. Y'all pray for my speed trap. First tournament 2024 in the new Skeeter. Yamaha, man, it's been an awesome week running it around. Stop number 1 of the NPFL. Man, I'm really excited to be fishing the NPFL this year. To be truthful, I didn't know if I was gonna get to fish in 2024. The financial side of fishing right now is just really, really tough. I was really blessed to have some good sponsors step up, visit Jeff County, my mom, Michelle Sales Realtor, Saltex, Thompson Truck Group, Short Mountain Silica and Trucking. Man, it's just been an awesome year, a lot of support. National Kennel Club, I could go on and on. Those are the really big guys that stepped up this year. We're super excited to be bringing this to you guys. We got to run a GoPro, it's part of the rules for the league, and so I'm gonna film all my tournaments, be posting it on YouTube. Practice has been pretty good. It was slow for the first couple days, but really you know, as practice went on, it seemed like that those fish were really coming to you on the bank. And so I'm excited to get this one rolling. As you can see behind me, we're probably going to be sitting here for a minute, but it's been a great week so far, and just ready to get this derby going. So I appreciate y'all watching, and stay tuned. Yes, sir. All right, thank y'all. Go get him, bud. Well, that kill switch on out
So I roll up to the first spot here, fire out there, and man, it started happening quick. With the fog delay, man, I knew I had to catch them quick, so I thought catching 5 for 9 or 10 pounds would have been a great way to start the day. So I'm throwing a speed trap here on the ends of these long points. Clay bottom, I think the clay was warming up quicker. The big spots were up there kind of warming their eggs. And I say big spots, you know, 2.5 pounders were good ones this week. And so I felt like that clay was definitely important. Throwing this speed trap on a 6-8 medium, I believe. And so really having to kind of baby them here with it. Speed traps are really light bait. It's hard to throw it on any rod with a backbone, so you definitely have to kind of baby it. But you can see they weren't having any problem the way they were getting it, man. They were getting that thing so good. They were still running some water. And so with that current coupled with the fact that these clay points were kind of just holding some heat, man, it made for a really special bite. And I rolled up and started catching them quick. Now, the unfortunate thing is the water wasn't going to run the whole tournament. So I knew that, but I was going to try to get it while the getting was good. You could tell that I really thought this fish was a big one. I mean, I'm feeding it line, I'm clicking my bell, I'm doing all the things you would do if you had a 4-pounder hooked. Definitely felt like a good fish. Unfortunately, I had this fish hooked outside the head with 1 point of the treble, and so very fortunate to get this fish in to start the day. I mean, I'm sure it was one of the ones I weighed in this day, and so was definitely fortunate to land this fish with it being barely hooked. It's definitely a unique thing with fishing, you know, either the opens or the NPFL, is you can't use a net. And so, you know, you got a fish that's barely hooked like that, to be able to get it in the boat quick when he gets up to the side of the boat, man, it's definitely a scary deal. But fortunate to land this one.
Yes, sir. A little better.
Quick side note, it's funny how when you start filming for a fishing tournament, it always sounds like somebody's flying an airplane next door. I think this guy was probably weed eating or leaf blowing, so sorry about that.
Pipsqueak.
So at this point, I had 4 rats, and I think one of the biggest things in tournament fishing is knowing when to stay and when to go. Because of the hot skies that we had, the late blast off with the fog delay, I knew that if I was going to have a good bag, I was going to have to catch them around docks, and I knew I was going to have to do it in a hurry. So with 4 fish in the boat, I felt good. I could catch a 5th one. I decided to go ahead and try to head hunt and catch me a couple good ones, and man, I'm sure glad I did.
Yes, sir.
Five.
So I've already culled once here. I got one more really little one I want to get rid of. Skipping a chatterbait around these black floats is something I do a ton back home in East Tennessee. So just decided, I'm going to skip every float in this section, and I'm going to go find some new ones, which is what I did. So I start skipping this, and I'm just hoping for one more kicker bite. We got about 2 hours left at this point, and so I'm just kind of committed to it at this point. Try to catch, going to try to catch as many good ones as I can to end the day. This can be monotonous because, those fish can be sitting underneath any one of these floats, and you've got to skip every single one of them to figure out where that female could be sitting. You can see I get lucky here. I put it in front of that one's face and catch it. I go and do this for hours the rest of the day, and I never catch another one, so I was fortunate to have the 3 calls I did. Got probably 10 or 11 pounds, not really sure. We're gonna see where we end up. Happy with it, just caught them exactly how I thought I was gonna catch them today, just not quite as many and not quite as big, but we got to travel to Oxford now, Field of Dreams, to get these fish weighed in. So I'm gonna go get them checked, get the trailer, and we'll see where we end up.
Boat number 50 right there. He's the head fishing coach at Carson Newman University, Blaine, Tennessee. How about it for Hunter Sales? Now that's a sharp looking rig right there, brother. What's going on, coach?
A whole lot. Happy to be here, man.
Absolutely, we're happy to have you. Here you go. 5 in the bag, 4. 11 pounds, 11 ounces. Coach, let's see a couple of them fish for all your guys out there on the team and gals at Carson Newman University. Heck of a football program over there, and they got a great bass fishing team over there. Put your hands together, folks, right there for the coach. Getting it done right there with a couple. Let's do this. Let's talk real quick. I'm going to have you stand right over here for me, Coach.
Yeah.
All right. Showing all those athletes to you, Coach, how to catch them on a tough lake.
Yeah, they're down on Clark's Hill right now, actually. I think we got 2 in the top 10, so they're catching them pretty good themselves.
Well, evidently, coaching goes a long way. You're doing a fine job, man. Good luck the rest of the week, my man. Yeah, thank you, huh? Next to the stage, boat number.
What's up, guys? Sun's coming up. No fog today. 11-11 yesterday, sitting in 30th place. They pay 40. Hopefully we can do a little better than that. Hopefully slide into the top 10 today and just keep it rolling for tomorrow. Around some good fish, just got to catch them. Appreciate y'all keeping up with me, and we got to hurry. They're calling numbers. $320. Appreciate that. Thank you.
So, of course, you got to start on the place you caught 3 the day before. Unfortunately, it pulled up pretty quick in a little hard spot on this clay point. you could just tell there wasn't many fish on it. So I had to slide up a little bit shallower. The current flow wasn't quite as strong this day. You could just tell things were changing really quick. But I knew there was a lot of fish in the area, so I definitely expanded on what I had in practice. Messed around, started off, relatively quick. I think this was about 20 minutes in. I started off with a really solid fish. A 2.25 pounder was a good one. So definitely happy to start off the day with the solid fish, and you'll kind of watch me mull around the area and expand a little bit. But you also notice that it wasn't really happening like it was day one.
Lord, took us a minute. We're up there slid up a little shallower this morning. Not as much current, ain't big. It's a 1.25 pounds, 1.5 pounds. Start. Number 2.
So at this point, I had 2 fish. I knew that it was going to be a much tougher day. Luckily, I hadn't ran a lot of my stuff that I found in practice on the first day just due to the short day. And so I started looking at some of that stuff on day 2. But I had fished a lot of it at this point in the video, and I hadn't got bit. So this is kind of the last of the stuff that I hadn't fished in practice. And this is the third one I caught, and man, it's just barely a keeper. But I did notice something on this fish. I was reeling pretty quick to get it to bite, kind of burning it down to the bottom.
Barely.
I tried that for a while and never caught another one either. So.
But he should be. Had to make a little switch here to real dang finessey crankbait. Burning it right there when you need it. He's a keeper, but man, that's all he is. Line burner 12-incher.
So with 3 in the boat here, and one of them being, a really small fish, I knew I kind of had to make a change. I wasn't really hopeful that my dock pattern was going to hold up, given the last couple hours of the first day I hadn't had any bites. So I go around in the same area kind of, and I start fishing. Really just kind of looking for something else those fish could be staging on or holding on. And I found something pretty interesting here. Kind of a hard spot, had a few stumps and stuff on it. And I saw a couple, so I throw my chatterbait over there. I scoped one up pretty quick. It was a good fish, probably the best one I weighed in the second day. And I proceeded to kind of stick around in that area and try to finesse a couple fish. I caught a few, but it was really clear that the current had shut off. The fish had changed. I think a lot of those river channel fish had decided they probably weren't going to be up on the bank eating anymore, at least for me. And so my mind kind of started wondering I wonder if some of those fish that I had found in pre-practice back in December might start to play again. Maybe the current shutting off has set those fish back up on bait and stuff like that. So after I finesse a couple up here, I make a move and start kind of exploring, really just trying to save the day, because at the time I only had 7 or 8 pounds after I catch my 5th one here on a Z-Man Ned. I had 7 or 8 pounds and just really scrapping. So you kind of watch me go through a few processes here and end up finding a couple to end the day. I definitely don't want to talk this entire video, but it seems like I'm going to. But I had to hop in here for a second to talk about a Z-Man Ned rig. You know, it's definitely a bait for me when you just need to get a bite. And so when it's 12 o'clock, second day of a 3-day tournament, and you've got 4 fish in the boat, you need to get a bite. So for me, tying on a Ned, dragging it around, you know, a few pieces of cover, a couple hard spots, stuff like that. I mean, that's certainly how you can get a bite almost anywhere in the country. So definitely a confidence bait for me.
That'll help a little bit. Let's go.
So for me, this was a little bit of a surprise. The water's a lot dirtier than it was in December. I've never really scope fished in water this dirty, and I'll dive in here in just a minute into a couple keys that I was able to do to still make these fish bite. So I know I culled at least 2 or 3 times. You can see me starting to catch a few trash fish here, a big striper. I think I catch a couple of those and a couple of catfish. But we'll dive into how I was able to get these fish to bite in the dirty water. You know, a situation where most people probably wouldn't scope. I was still throwing a damiki bait, a minnow-style bait, and just shaking it above their heads. But what I had noticed is those fish were super, super high up. I think with the dirty water and the sun being out, they were really just trying to warm up after the cold snap we had. And so they were just like right under the surface. And I was throwing a 3/8 in December. And unfortunately, I couldn't get them to bite that bait because they were too high, and that bait would get below them, and it would almost spook them. And so what I ended up having to do is go to about an 1/8 ounce jig head. And man, once you put that 1/8 ounce jig head above one of them's head, that was just 6 inches to a foot under the water, I mean, they would bite every single time. It was really special. Definitely made me excited about day 3.
Hi guys, about to make our way through the weigh-in here back in Oxford. Don't know what I have, maybe 9 pounds, hoping for a little bit more, but I really doubt it. Tough today. I mean, you saw I caught a few there at the end, so I'm pretty hopeful tomorrow I can go ahead and catch 9 or 10 pounds, but man, I don't know how to get a big bite, so hopefully I can get 9 or 10 pounds pretty early tomorrow and then go and try to hunt for a big one, maybe under docks or something. But man, I fished a lot of them, so I don't know if that's the plan or not, but let's get them weighed in and see where we end up.
University from Blaine, Tennessee. How about it for Hunter Sales? All right, Hunter. The bass fishing team over at Carson Newman is starting to compete with championships with the football team. If nobody knows, Carson Newman has a heck of a football program over there at that university. You got it, my man. 11-11 on day one. That sounded about right. How about we go 5 in the bag today? A little bit less, 10 pounds, 15 ounces, a 2-day total of 22 pounds and 10 ounces. Going to put you right there in the top 20, brother. Yeah, man. Good move.
Absolutely. Ready to get back out there tomorrow. First tournament running a Skeeter Yamaha, and I'm loving it, so ready to get back out there.
There you go, man. We'll see you then. Thanks, bud. Next. 706.
10-15. Freaking happy with that. Better than I thought I had. So we're going to get re-rigged. You'll get them again tomorrow. Appreciate y'all.
Right over there. I'll tell you what, it was close.
Day 3 starts right now. Had 10-15 yesterday, sitting in 24th place. Need about 11 pounds to move us up into the top 20. Probably 13 pounds to get into the top 10. Ride with us. Top 100, 340. Sorry, sir. Thanks, bud. Appreciate y'all. So we got started here on the same spot we ended day 2 on, and started really quick here with a really solid fish. I don't know how big that one was. It's a 2-pounder probably, maybe a hair over for number 1, and I had a great feeling about how the day was going to go. So just like the day before, the key here was keeping this bait above the fish, shaking it right over their head. And they were pretty aggressive. When you got this bait in front of a fish and over top of it, and they shot to the top pretty quick. Wasn't really any deciding if they were going to eat it or not. If they saw it and they wanted it, I mean, it was gone pretty quick. Still using a really light head and twitching it right over top of these fish at this point.
take a quick comment and say that 8-pound Spigar Tatsu poke flip them, son. This was actually one of the only fish in 3 days that I lost that I wish I would have had. You know, and it looked like a pretty good one to me when it rolled at the time. And I'd lost or missed a couple fish this morning on this hover rig. Not really sure why. Most of my fish I was catching on a damiki, but like I said, it had to be really light. So I thought the hover rig was going to be a kind of a staple in the day. But man, it's just like they weren't getting it good. I don't know if they wanted something a little faster or if the hook I was using needed to be adjusted, but definitely wish I would have had that one back.
A little bit better one. Check. Thank you, Lord.
So with 5 fish in the boat, I was pretty confident I was going to end up going home with a check. The plan was to kind of catch them until they quit biting and then make a move and try to go catch some big largemouth. Thought I was going to stay here for a while as it's been pretty fast and furious up until this point.
Yes, sir. I may have exaggerated a little bit. That's a solid 2.5 pounder, if not more. 280.
So I was getting ready to leave, had a bunch of cookie cutters and was catching a bunch, but it wasn't really upgrading me any. So when I catch this 280, things kind of changed in my head. You know, it went from, man, I'm probably gonna get out of here and have to go try to catch a big one, to if I sit here all day, maybe I catch a couple more 3-pounders. And so I really just decided at this point I was just gonna hunker down and see what really lived in this creek.
Yes, sir. Freaking go.
That's the kind you need right there. Yes, sir. Oh my gosh, that's the biggest one I caught out here. $3.15. Throwing back a 180. Got 12.5 now.
Thank you, Lord.
Do what? I was in 24th. Yeah, not bad. A couple more 3-pounders would be really good. These fish ain't been here though until today. It's the first day I've caught them in here.
And so at this point, with 2 good ones in the boat, you know, it's really just a matter of, I'm going to sit here all day. If I can catch a couple more, you know, I really thought I had a chance to have a 15-pound day. I was at 12.5 roughly here, you know, so I needed a couple more 3-pounders. And, you know, in pre-practice, I had caught some really good ones in this area, you know, pushing 4. And so was kind of hopeful I'd run into one of those before the day was over. Proceeded to just catch fish the rest of the evening. It was a really cool bite. This is one of the best damiki rig bites I'd ever been on. And I hope you guys can kind of see, you know, what I'm doing with my bait here as far as keeping it above them. Really important with spotted bass, you know, to keep something moving in front of them. And so definitely something I'd like to go back and do again one day. But yes, make a move towards the end of the video, so don't think it's going to be just damiki stuff from here on out. So I do sit here and catch a bunch and end up running, trying to catch a couple largemouth at the end of the day. one other real quick piece of information here that I think I should note is if you watch when I'm setting the hook on these fish, you're not jerking into them when they bite. You really just reel. You reel until you feel pressure. Because a lot of times this damiki reel will come from behind, and they'll eat it. And actually, you won't really feel them bite. So it's important to just reel until you get pressure on them, and then you just kind of pull into them. I see a lot of guys, jerking the damiki rig out of fish's mouth and stuff. And so next time you go out, just try to reel into them when you're doing this, and I think you'll put a lot more of those fish in the boat.
Might help.
So right here, I made a move to an area I'd caught some largemouth during the week. I knew I was kind of running out of time. I gave myself about 30 minutes to come fish for these largemouth. Literally, first cast, pick up my chatterbait, throw over there, reel it probably halfway back to the boat, and want to absolutely knock slack in it. Man, that's just, you pick up a Seaman chatterbait, and it just seems to put better than average fish in the boat. One of those days that seems like every decision I made was the right one.
I like to triple or double check.
Yeah.
Final day. We've already had a couple guys second place.
Oh, no way. I'm glad I was on the right place. did, but I still was a little confused when you... I thought I knew it. You started asking, and I was like, oh no.
I just have to go through a large list to make sure I'm accurate as well.
I got you, buddy.
So you get to watch me here about have a heart attack when the guy asks me, what time were you due in, Hunter? And definitely thought that I made a mistake there. But he was just double checking, so we're all good.
Boat number 50. Boat number 50. Now we're going to go to the head fishing coach at Carson Newman University from Blaine, Tennessee. How about it now for Hunter Sales? All right, Hunter. 22 pounds and 10 ounces on the first 2 days. Got 5 in the bag today. Good to see you, sir. All right, here we go. 5 in the bag today. Decent day right there. 13 pounds, 11 ounces, a 3-day total of 36 pounds and 5 ounces. I don't know if it's win NCAA rules, but you could take the team out for lunch with this winning.
Yeah, man, I'm excited about it. NPFL has some great payouts. I need to thank a few people that make this possible this year. I had a bunch of people step up. First tournament running a Skeeter Yamaha, and don't have enough great things to say about it. Saltex, Visit Jefferson County, National Kennel Club, Short Mountain Silk. My mom actually sponsors me. Just a ton of people that make this possible. Awesome to see the crowds out here, and Logan Martin actually fished pretty good for me this week.
Congratulations on your first tournament. You represented Carson Newman, the Fed fishing coach. Next to the stage.
Oh shit.
All pads ain't blowing no more.
Yeah, also not working. All right, what's up, guys? Just weighed in, had 13.11 today. Biggest bag for me so far this week. Sitting in 5th right now, probably won't hold. I'd say I'll end up maybe hopefully top 15. There's a big pay gap between 15 and 16. Should be coming home with about 10 grand, so I'm pretty fired up about that. I want to run through real quick how I caught them this week. As you can see, I caught a ton of fish today. The bite really changed all week. You know, when we showed up, water was super colored, a lot of current flow, and as the week went on, the last couple of days of the tournament, the current flow got reduced later in the week, and so I had to change how I was catching them. The chatterbait was a huge player for me. White and red, 3/8 ounce, jackhammer, dirty white, got the gold blade, the Razor Shad's trailer, throwing that on a just 7.3 heavy with 17-pound Seaguar and Vizex. Caught a lot of my better fish on that. As you see today, heavy lifter was the Z-Man Jerk Shads 4-inch in shiner color, throwing that on an 8-pound Tatsu leader on just a 7-foot medium spinning rod. And man, those fish were just up super high in the water column, and so I had to throw it on a 1/4 ounce head and keep it up above them, and that was a really, really fun bite. Those two baits are where I weighed in the majority of my weight, but this bait honestly saved my freaking tournament. Yesterday, when they first cut the current flow off and I had no idea what was going on, I was sitting on 3 fish at like 1 o'clock, and I picked up this Z-Man TRD, and I caught my last 2 keepers, and that gave me a lot of confidence to go and practice. And I really found the spot in which I caught all my weight today. And so overall, just an awesome first tournament with the NPFL down here in Logan Martin. We'll see where I end up at, but I had a blessed week. God was good, taking care of me. Huge shout out to Skeeter and Yamaha. I mean, I ran this boat all over the dang lake, and I couldn't say enough good things about the way it handles, the way it rides. You know, I mean, just feels how a boat should, you know, and so I'm really enjoying that. Saltex stepped up this year, Visit Jeff County, National Kennel Club. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to fish this freaking season. You know, the finances of fishing are so hard, and I had all these great people that stepped up. Short Mountain Silk, my mom, Michelle Sales Realtor, Great American Signs. I don't have enough, you know, I could sit here and name people all day, but I really appreciate that support, and I appreciate y'all watching. Catch you soon.